July 25th, 2022, Triple H had replaced Vince McMahon to become the new head of creative. It was a huge turning point for WWE, but it was a turn that was going to reinvent the company for the greater good. Storylines started making sense again, matches were getting more time and quality, and the weekly shows finally felt consistent. You could actually sit through a Raw or SmackDown from start to finish and actually feel rewarded for it because everything connected. Pay-per-views felt important again, and the company didn't revolve around one guy anymore as it revolved around multiple now. But 3 years later, in 2025, it seems that the fans spark for the love of Triple H's booking has started to fade. Because, oh my gosh, has the product slowly started getting stale. Let's just cut the dramaticness of it. Much better. Hola, hola everyone, my name is Nando, and for today's video I'm going to be breaking down the many issues that I, or probably you, or many other people that clicked on this video have felt about WWE's booking as of late. Now keep in mind, this is just a video where I critique problems that I feel are happening on the shows right now, and I will just do the best I can to show the proof of it to back up my point, because I don't want you guys to feel as though this is just me saying this sucks because it just sucks. No, because you're going to get a video where I educate, give context, and poke fun at how chaotic this year has been for WWE. So let's cut all this here up and start with our very first big issue, that being the booking of their own titles. And by that I mean they're forgettable, repetitive, and extremely long. Now don't get me wrong, long title reigns can be a great thing. They add prestige, they make the title feel important, and if done right, you could write a really good story regarding how the wrestler perceives a title that could add a lot to his character because of how important the belt is to them. But here's the issue, when everyone gets a long title reign, then nobody feels special anymore. Every champion begins to blend together, which leads you to stop caring about the build-up or the actual title match because you already know that they're going to be holding that belt for another 6 months. From 2023 to 2024 had a bunch of long title reigns, but at least many were justified. The Usos were tag champs for nearly 2 years, but we were fine with it due to their excellent tag matches and their Emmy Award level storyline with the Bloodline. Gunther was Intercontinental Champion for 666 days, but we were good with it because of how much he elevated the title, because of how much Vince and other stinker champions have devalued its purpose. It was so bad that when Gunther defended his IC title against Sheamus at Clash at the Castle, it broke the title's 511th day streak of not being defended on a pay-per-view. Insanity! Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair held their belts for over a year. Logan Paul was United States Champion, but that was fine because... actually, none of it was fine. He was barely there and barely defended it. I feel like I'm forgetting someone that did the exact same thing. But yeah, you get the point. Majority of everyone just got a long title reign, but in some ways it was justified by the quality that it was given. This time though, no excuse! The Judgment Day, a team that should have broken up a long time ago, have developed a reputation of having long and uninspiring title reigns. Finn Balor and JD won the Raw Tag Team Champions a second time this year, holding it for nearly 4 months, with their last defense happening in July. Guys, it's October! They've had no storylines whatsoever, nor is any tag team really begging to get a shot at it, which is a real shame because tag team wrestling used to be Triple H's bread and butter back in the old NXT days. Now that division is just treading water with no sign of ever coming back to being better. Then there's Dominic Mysterio. Now while he's a fun character, he's held the IC belt since WrestleMania 41 and has gotten one storyline regarding the title, and it took 5 months. 5 months for one consistent storyline. It's such a shame because Dom is such a great character that should always get his solo star time to shine, but he barely gets any TV time to elevate the title. Oh, and that's another thing. The champions never get TV time anymore. Like, have you guys noticed the current theme with wrestlers that get so over with the crowd because they're wrestling, showing up every week and being more active in storylines, but once they're champion, they're gone! Braun Breaker is such a great example about this because he quickly got over with the crowd with his persona, his pure athleticism, but once he won the IC title, poof, he barely wrestled build. Now I know people can make the argument of, oh, it's good that champions are wrestling less because when they have a match, especially for the title, it feels more special. But that's the thing, they do and they don't. It's special because it's like, finally, they're actually defending the belt this time. But on the other hand, it's not really special because they can barely get the time to build proper storylines to get the fans invested into them. And with this consistency, once they lose the belt, you will get asked by someone, hey, what did you think of their title reign? 9 times out of 10, you will say, yeah, it was alright. And that's because you don't remember much about it. Remind me, excluding the AJ Styles feud, what do you remember about Dominic's IC title reign? Exactly, not much. What about Braun Breaker? He held the belt twice in 1 year. Exactly, you don't even remember much. Sami Zayn's doing some great work with the US title, but that's because he's consistent in showing up, doing title matches every week, and making the belt feel important for once. Shoot. This, came a bit too late. Hola everyone, it's Nando here. This is a bit awkward right now, but screw it, the point still stands. Sami Zayn held the belt for only 49 days with only 6 defenses, and yet it was still a better reign than many champions before it. Because remember, this title was getting passed around to guys like Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Shinsuke Nakamura. All guys that held the belt and did nothing with it. The woman suffered the worst fate. Io Sky was red hot with the crown, then she won the belt, then stopped having matches and was mostly doing backstage segments. And crazy enough, when she lost the belt, her TV time got more increased. Do you know how insane that is? Julia was on SmackDown, seemed to be Triple H's new pet project, but then she won the US title and then she gone too! Tiffany Stratton has been a champion for nearly a year, and 40% of her matches and storyline programs have involved Nia Jax. And again, there's nothing to remember about her reign because they've done nothing about it. Her best program was from Charlotte Flair, but that was just because they were just shooting at each other like crazy, and that was awesome! Right now, WWE has too many titles going on long reigns. There needs to be a diverse because all you do is just stall out your shows with predictable results and making us have to wait 4 to 5 to 6 months for a title change to happen. You can have your long title reigns, but not every title reign needs to last over a year. You can do a lot with the title even when you're with it for just a short time. Now I'm just going to be making a small segment talking about this because it's just been done to death. But next up, TKO pricing out their shows. Yes, it's a terrible thing, but lately the hate for the pricing just feels like such an eye roll right now when you still see people buying those expensive ass tickets. Their ticket sales have only gone better the more they keep pricing up. But don't worry folks, because there's good news. It's gonna get worse! Because TKO executive Mark Shapiro spoke out about the ticket pricing in WWE and was like, yeah, Vince doesn't know what he was doing. He was just pricing tickets for families and not really maximizing their momentum. Listen here, man. There's one thing to openly admit that WWE should overprice their shows even more, but it's also another thing where you're just making Vince look like a good guy. What are we doing here, guys? Seriously, does no one associated in WWE space know how to make a good PR interview? Like, holy! But I wanted to bring this topic specifically because of an old article I read that came from an interview from the legendary singer known as Billy Joel. He stated in 2014 that he just started closing off the front row seats to his show because the main reasoning for that is that he hated rich people that were just buying those tickets and were just sitting there and not interacting with his shows. And wrestling is all about the enthusiasm from the crowd. Any match can look like a 5-star match unless the crowd's enthusiasm to the match makes it look that way. And I'm worried there's going to be a point where the front row seats are just filled with celebrities and rich folks that just come in to show zero enthusiasm to those shows. WrestleMania 41 was an expensive extravaganza, and guess what happened? The crowd was mostly dead and awful. And for our last subject of this video is going to be a topic that I've been meaning to speak about for quite some time because I just don't think it's addressed enough. Mostly because it would draw some bad feedback, but you just have to trust me on this. Promise me you won't get mad at me for this. Just promise me you won't get mad, okay? You promise? Truly? Okay. Okay then. So, in my opinion, Triple H does not know how to do long-term storytelling. Hey, you promised! Okay, now just hear me out on this. Just answer me this. What is the concept of a story? Well, it must have the main elements of having a beginning, a rising action that includes its drama, its conflict, etc., etc. Then you get your climax, your aftermath of that climax, and then your ending to the story. But WWE nowadays, at least in my opinion, has a beginning, a conflict that sets up for the climax, and the rising action, well, it's not rising. It's flat! The two big examples of this that I discussed on my problem with Seth Rollins' faction and John Cena's heel turn is that WWE just loves creating big moments. Moments that can be seen as a long-lasting memory. But with every moment needs an extension that elevates its greatness. You don't find love for Batista betraying Triple H until you remember how it followed. The same goes for Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. That feud wasn't just built on one stunner, it was built on defiance. It was the frustrated employee against the boss, something the fans could relate and gravitate behind. Roman Reigns' heel turn wouldn't have been as beloved as it was if he didn't take it to the next level with the Bloodline storyline. This is what I mean. Every moment needs a road to walk on, a stretch of storytelling that gives it meaning, emotion, and a payoff. But for some reason, Triple H's booking of this direction has been big moment that leads to a big storyline, stall, little bit of conflict that adds a bit of intrigue to the story, then rinse and repeat until the climax comes nearly or over a year later. I explained it thoroughly in this video, but to keep it short, when John Cena turned heel, it was the greatest, most shocking moment in WWE's recent memory. Then what was followed was the worst fumbled booking in all of its history. Cena's promos felt forced, his reasoning was so outdated. Turning heel because of how much the fans despised and booed him for years? Yeah, that story would have worked 15 years ago. It's too late to feel that way now when the fans, especially the people that booed and hated Cena for years, have come to these shows to show their love and support for him now. You can't just hate them now when you positioned yourself to embrace the hate that you got for them for many years. Then you gave Cena the worst WrestleMania match of all time, had him involved with a celebrity that gave no benefits to WWE whatsoever and did more so damage than good. And to top it off, the heel turn was so bad that John Cena had to outright admit on a random SmackDown and just went, hey guys, that heel turn kinda sucked, didn't it? So anyways, I'm a face now, love me again, and that ended what is essentially going to be WWE's biggest what if of all time. We got the moment, but the delivery stunk. And I think we all know exactly on who we should give the blame to. It's Triple H, stop blaming TKO and The Rock. This agenda of always blaming TKO for WWE's creative decisions just needs to stop. All they want is just more money, and they touch nothing else. TKO admits that, and Triple H even admits himself that he made the John Cena idea himself.
And Triple H said, you know, what about this? What about John turning? I said, I love it.
So my next reach out to that point is to Rock.
I hit him with what if, and he was like, wow. Man, I gotta tell you, I think that's genius.
There you have it, folks. That's Triple H admitting that he wanted to turn John Cena heel. And you must remember, he knew The Rock was never going to show up and make it to WrestleMania, as The Rock had to film for the live-action Moana. Triple H knew that and still made the call for the heel turn to happen, but yet he still had nothing for John Cena afterwards. Dominic Mysterio has been building a breakup storyline with Finn Balor and the Judgment Day since the dawn of time. They show heat towards each other, then they're friends. There's heat, then they're friends. It's the same thing over and over again, and it's going to continue being that way until Liv Morgan comes back from injury. And that's only gonna happen next year! As they were set to make a storyline where Roxanne Perez was trying to get Dominic interested in her and Finn Balor trying to influence that heat to happen. Randy Orton has been teasing that he wants Cody Rhodes' title since Cody won the belt last year. One week he stares at the belt, the other week he does it again, then again, then again. Such deep and emotional storytelling right here, folks. And please, I know I'm going to get the arguments of, oh, your attention span is low. You want everything done now. Oh, Just be patient. While yes, it said that our world's attention spans have shrunken immensely, we as wrestling fans can still be patient for the payoff. It's just as long as there is a notable storyline progression that keeps us invested. But there just isn't. It's the same slow, no progressive development for weeks and months on end, with Triple H's big plan to just stall out to get closer to the big pay-per-view shows. That is not long-term storytelling. That is a story that is taking long to tell. War Games feuds are the worst because they are the same recipe over and over. It's the top heel faction going up against the big baby faces, and they stall and stretch that feud for the next long 6 to 7 months. Kofi and Xavier kicked Big E out of the New Day on their 10-year anniversary because they felt that he left them, and then proceeded to not care about Big E's neck injury that ended up retiring him. It was one of the best written segments of the year and made the New Day look like absolute douchebags. So then, what did the momentum lead to? Nothing. They just won the tag titles, did nothing with it, and now they're just jobbers. Wow. El Grande Americano was supposed to be a short program where Chad Gable dressed as a luchador and Rey Mysterio would end the program at WrestleMania. But since Rey Mysterio got injured, we got a stall. But with Chad Gable also being injured, it led to Ludwig Kaiser taking his place, placing a storyline between both El Grande Americano someday, which means there's a stall to the storyline. CM Punk and Seth Rollins have been feuding since 2023, and it's been the same material since they started. I bet you've already forgotten that AJ Lee returned to wrestling just a month ago. Seriously, where is she? Seth Rollins created the Visionary, but again, it was always the same material every week where they talk, roll with the baby faces, rinse and repeat, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be any improvements coming anytime soon.
Oh my God!
Okay, fine. Yes, there has been a huge development as of recently with the Bronze and Paul Heyman betraying Seth Rollins, which was a last-minute decision as Seth Rollins was legit injured from his match with Cody. Because while this betrayal was such a great moment, you shouldn't give yourself such high expectations because of what will happen afterwards. Because at most, the story is now going to be Braun being the top heel of the company until Seth Rollins comes back. Which means more stalling. Just let it end. So yeah, in short, WWE has a big stalling problem. They keep stalling out their title reigns and their storylines with very little moments of trying to pivot, which leads to constant, repetitive TV. But that's just my opinion, folks. Don't take it too seriously. What do you think is a problem that WWE should be fixing? Let me know down below in the comments. I also just want to give a big shout out to everyone that really loved the last video that I did. It was such a blast making the video, and I just love the support that I got from the video. Just going from 40 subs to now nearly 60 is insane. Like I said in that last video, if you ever watched it, go watch it if you haven't. I really want to do this for as long as I can because this is just such a fun hobby for me to do. I really don't have any friends regarding wrestling. I do have friends, but not in regards to the topic of talking about professional wrestling. So this is just my space that I give to you, discussing my love for professional wrestling. I know it seems like I hate it. Trust me, I love it. I love it very much. But thank you so much for the support. We're gonna keep going. We're just 2 subs away from hitting 60 subs. Let's get there. Thank you so much. Subscribe now. See ya.